and I'd like to talk to you about happiness, because I think chocolate might be the most concentrated piece of happiness in the world, right? Chocolate, I sometimes say, is the magical solution to everything. I mean, if you're having a bad week, there's nothing better to fix it than a good big piece of chocolate, right? Or if you're having a really good week, there's nothing better to celebrate that really good week than a big piece of chocolate. So it's the magical solution to everything. Now, I'm a father of 2 young children, Tom and Veerle, of 10 and 12. And they are probably amongst the happiest kids in the world. It might have something to do with the amounts of chocolate I have at home. But not too long ago, I was in Ivory Coast. And in Ivory Coast, you can find yourself on farms between children of the same age as Tom and Veerle of 10 and 12. And they are on the other side of that happiness spectrum. There's a huge gap, chasm, between their happinesses. And the bitter reality is that it has to do with the same thing, chocolate. Now let me tell you a little bit about the world of cocoa. Cocoa grows around the equator. There's a little bit of cocoa that comes from Central and South America, a little bit that comes from Asia, but the majority of oat cocoa is grown on millions of little farms in Western Africa. On the other side of the value chain, there's billions of consumers like you and I who just want to be able to eat a bar of chocolate every single day in your life without having to feel guilty. But in the middle of the value chain, there's only a handful of companies that actually produce chocolate. And it's in their interest that the price of cocoa is low. And in our opinion, it's inhumanly low. Because how does that look? Of a bar that's sold for €2.65 in the stores, no more than 12 cents actually goes to the farmer that grows the cocoa. Now, to put that in perspective, the average farmer in Ivory Coast grows about 1,000 kilos of cocoa beans per year. For a market price, which is at the moment €1.17 per kilo, that means they have less than 1,200 euros revenue per year. And that means that with a wife and on average 4 kids, the average family in Ivory Coast, they live of no more than 50 cents available income per day per person, which is way below the poverty level, which is stated at €2 for Ivory Coast. And that is wrong. That value chain is very unequally divided. Now, how does that look? From 2 countries in Western Africa, Ivory Coast and Ghana, comes about 60% of all cocoa in the world. And that's grown on 2.5 million farms. And on those farms, there's 2.3 million children that work there, of which 90% work under illegal circumstances, work with heavy chemicals, work with machinery, or walk around with sharp machetes and aren't able to go to school. And the worst cases, recent studies show that more than 30,000 children are subject to human trafficking. We call that modern slavery, which we think is ridiculous in 2018 for a product that nobody actually needs, chocolate. Now let me introduce you to a couple of these kids.
Je suis Kamsame Félix, j'ai 16 ans. J'ai travaillé dans une plantation de cacao de 1999 en 2003.
Cacao, 1999 en 2003.
On m'a pas payé, on m'a forcé de travailler.
Je n'étais pas payé, j'étais forcé de travailler.
J'étais forcé de travailler. Je n'avais pas la liberté pour quitter l'école.
Et puis on vous laisse jamais causer entre parents. Si on te voit causer avec ton parent, bon, on te tue ou bien tu te mates très bien là et puis on te fait changer de compte.
In 2001, there were 2 American senators, Senator Harkin and Senator Engel, that had all these major chocolate firms sign an agreement to eradicate the worst forms of child labor from the cocoa industry within 10 years' time. And it was signed by all the CEOs of these big companies. Unfortunately, the Harkin-Engel Protocol is a so-called non-binding agreement. Now, 17 years down the road, none of the goals in the agreement have been reached. In 2005, there was a Dutch television show with the journalist Teun van de Keuken, who wanted to look into the progress of the Harkin-Engel Protocol almost halfway through the time of the protocol. And Teun was absolutely shocked when he realized that nothing had changed. None of these big chocolate firms was actually taking their responsibility. But none of these chocolate firms wanted to speak to him. So he had an issue because he's a television journalist. So Teun thought of a smart move, and Teun turned himself in as a chocolate criminal to the police, saying, according to international law, if you are aware of criminal activities in a value chain of a product that you buy, you're responsible for those criminal activities. And he reasoned, I know about child slavery in the chocolate bars that I ate, so I am responsible for financing the child slavery. And Teun had a court case set up against himself. In the end, the judge said, morally, Teun, you're completely right. But legally, I cannot prosecute you because I cannot prove the causality between the bars that you ate and the chocolate beans that were picked by Kam Herman from the movie that you just saw, who was flown in as a witness in the court case. So Teun decided to change the system from within. And Teun started a small chocolate company, Tony's Chocolonely, a small company but with a huge mission, to not only make our own chocolate 100% slave-free, but to make all chocolate worldwide 100% slave-free.
Ja, goedemiddag.
Goedemiddag, is dit Alain de Laat?
Jawel,
Meneer de Laat, u spreekt met Teun van de Keuken uit Nederland.
jawel.
Weet u nog wie ik ben?
Ja, ik weet wie u bent.
Nou, ik heb een tijdje geleden bij u allemaal chocola gekocht, hè?
Ja, dat klopt.
En we zijn vanochtend begonnen met de verkoop.
Ja?
En u moet eens even raden hoeveel we er hebben verkocht.
Oh, 1000?
13.000.
13.000?
Ja.
Oei, dan hebt u een probleem, hè?
Ja, dan heb ik een probleem, ja.
So we were a success from day one, and we're really proud of the fact that in December we became market leader, outdoing all traditional competition in the Netherlands. But the Netherlands is only a small country. But the wise founder of the Body Shop, Anita Roddick, once said, if you think something small can't make a difference, try sharing your room with a mosquito. And we're the mosquito in the room of the chocolate industry, constantly buzzing and stinging and hopefully keeping them awake at night by now. Now, how do we think we can reach that humongous goal of 100% slave-free chocolate worldwide? First of all, by creating awareness amongst consumers of chocolate about that bitter reality in the chocolate industry. Because we're convinced that when consumers and retailers simply demand more ethically produced chocolate and ask more questions about what they put in their shopping baskets or on their shelves, that the producers of chocolate will have to start feeling the pressure and will start changing. So we often round up our serious friends, as we say, to really support our mission within Tony's. And we also last year launched an exhibition about former child slaves in a museum in the Netherlands. So first of all, creating awareness. Second of all, we want to show the industry that chocolate can be made in a different way, in a more social way, in a more sustainable way. How? Well, first of all, we work with fully traceable cocoa beans that we buy from 5 cooperatives in Ghana and Ivory Coast, through about 5,000 to 6,000 farmers at the moment. So fully traceable cocoa beans. And we pay a higher price for those beans. We pay a higher price so these farmers can actually reach a living income. And we go for long-term relationships with these farmers, helping them increase their productivity and the quality of their cocoa beans. And lastly, we help these cooperatives to professionalize themselves so they have a stronger voice to the buyers in the middle of that value chain. And the last step in our strategy is to want to inspire other companies to also take action, to copy our business model or hopefully even improve on our business model. Now, we could have become an NGO. We could have become an activist. We chose to become a commercial chocolate brand. As some people would say, a social enterprise. Why? Because for us, financial success isn't a goal. For us, financial success is an essential mean towards a goal. The goal is crystal clear, 100% slave-free chocolate worldwide. We always say we're crazy about chocolate, but serious about people. Now, we're pretty damn crazy about chocolate. I mean, 10, 15 years ago in the Netherlands, you had 4 types of chocolate: white, milk, dark, and sometimes something with nuts sprinkled into it. We have about 18 to 20 recipes at the moment of the weirdest sort. So we're pretty damn crazy about chocolate. But we're really serious about people. And first of all, our own team. Because we believe we can only reach that humongous goal with the most engaged and committed team you can imagine. So we try to make working at Tony's as fun as possible. I mean, you spend more time in the office than you do at home almost, right? So better make it as fun as possible. So that's, first of all, our own team. 2, obviously, those farmers that we build long-term relationships with in Ghana and Ivory Coast. 3, consumers. 4th, the customers. Those are the people that sell the bars, so all the retailers in the Netherlands and the rest of Europe. And 5th, the people that make our bars, so the people that make our chocolate, the people that make our bars, and the people that make our packaging. Now, if you hear this story about how unequally divided the world of cocoa is, isn't it strange that chocolate bars for the last centuries or decades have always had this perfectly divided, very boring Excel spreadsheet kind of shape? And really boring chocolate brands sometimes even put their brand name on each and every single block, just in case you might forget what bar you're eating halfway through the bar. Now, we thought that was strange, so we made our bar unequally divided. And our unequal divided chocolate bar shows the reality of the unequally divided cocoa industry. And why is that relevant? Because we don't do any advertising. We've never done any advertising. We don't do paid media. We believe our story needs more than 20 seconds around the 8 o'clock news. So we go to, for example, Thessalonica to tell this story. Now, to reflect where our cocoa beans come from, and to show the respect that we have for the strong farmers that we work with, we managed to hide the map of Western Africa in our chocolate bars. This is how we believe a small company can really change a big industry from within, because we're convinced that we can make our own chocolate 100% slave-free. But only together with retailers and consumers can we actually make all chocolate worldwide 100% slave-free.
Het is toch het bewijs dat je wel het verschil kan maken.
Je moet ergens beginnen. Je moet niet nadenken. Je moet gewoon beginnen. Iedereen kan gewoon zijn eigen Tony zijn. Dat is natuurlijk ook het verhaal van deze reep.
Now, a wise man once said, once you know something, you cannot unknow something. And once you know something and you're aware, you're responsible. And then it's upon you to act upon that responsibility. So next time you find yourself in a supermarket with a dire need to fix a horrible week, or maybe you find yourself in a supermarket looking for something to celebrate a humongously great week, then just remember that each and every purchase you make is a vote for the world you want to live in. Thank you very much.